That was pretty good. Lots of seat up front, folks. So if you like to come closer, because that allows people who did not wake up as early as you did, when they come in, they can get the back seats in less interference. Well, first of all, thank you for coming today. Today's April 30th. So we are well into the end of the 4th month of the year. It's just flying by. We are having so much fun. Tomorrow, of course, is May 1st to start a new month. But this then is the last lecture of April, and the theme has been about being a Spiritist. And today we have the great pleasure of having Marcio Lee do a lecture for us. And the subject will be the narrow path. And we were joking that the narrow path will lead you to the narrow door eventually. A lot of interesting thoughts and ideas to be brought to us to reflect. So I hope you do enjoy it. I also say hello to the folks who may be watching us online on Facebook Live. Welcome. We're always very happy to share our experience, share our humble knowledge to anyone who is prepared and willing to share their time with us. So let's get started with a quick reading and a prayer by Anna, and then Marcio will come up and entertain and wow us with his lecture.
Good morning. Good morning. So our message today is by Divaldo Puerto Franco by Joanna De Angelis, and it's the book Happy Life. Keep your courage in the struggle, whatever the situation. There are easier roads to be traveled, but all demand effort. Some think that since they are working for the good of their fellow men, they will not confront difficulties or obstacles. That is not all true. Human beings are the same everywhere. Saint Vincent de Paul, who was so devoted to the poor, claimed that they were very demanding and ungrateful. So keep your courage up always. So let's elevate our minds and clear our thoughts of the outside and all our troubles. And let's thank God and Jesus and the Spirit Master of this house for this opportunity to be here, to learn a little bit more so that we can continue on our road, on our path to enlightenment. And let's ask to be blessed and to bless our speaker today, Marcio, and give him the insight and assist us with his lecture today. We thank you for all your blessings, and so be it.
So good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
All right. Take my notes. Second. Okay, so I'm gonna talk about the narrow path, but when I was given to this lecture, I was thinking, oh my God, it took me a while to get and understand about the narrow door, the narrow path. I think I get it. And it was with the help of the Spirit Manual and Chico Xavier for these two books, Living Spring and Our Daily Bread. I always try to use books that we have in English. So we do have these two that came, was psychographic by Chico Xavier, and these two books is really good if you want to do your, gospel at home or study a little bit more about Spiritism. It's a good books to understand it. So most of the slides that you're going to see here will be, and the message that I brought was from these two books, and of course the Gospel according to Spiritism, right? So let's start. This passage is from the Gospel. It's in Matthew chapter 7. Enter through the narrow door, for the door of perdition is wide and the path leading to it is broad, and there are many who enter through it. How small is the door to life? How narrow is the path that leads to it? And how few there are who find it. So this is the passage of the Gospel, and in our Gospel according to Spiritism, there is an explanation from Kardec on this. And then what we're going to do is talk a little bit about this door and how to get to it, right? Because the first thing that we need to understand is what this door is, right? And what is in it for me? You know, what is in this door? What are going to find in this door? And how do we get to that door? Right, so that's why the lecture is less about the door today and more about the path to get to that door. Right, so that was the intention for the lecture today. So let's start up talking about this door. What a door is, right? A door is a passage, right? If you think about your house, you have to get into your house, you need to go through a door. From a room to another, you have to go through a door. So that door is just a passage, a place that we go to go from one place to another. Now, the question here would be, what is these two places that Jesus is talking about, right? So this narrow door will take us from where? From one place to another. What these two places are, right? And in the message that we got is that these doors, these two places, is the place where we are ignorant, right? We are doing wrong things. We are sad, all our vices, right? Into a better place, a happy place, a place where we are all brothers and sisters, all as one big family. Our the humankind would be one big family, right? All the charity that we would do. So that would be the other place. So this door will lead us from this sad place, that we don't want to be, right? I don't think anyone wants to be in that place, to a happy place. So this door will take us from one place to the other. Now, what that door is, right? And the Gospel according to Spiritist, chapter 1, it tells us, Jesus come to teach mankind that true life is not the one lived here on earth, but rather the life lived in heaven. So these are the two places, right? What we live here on earth and the heaven. So this door will take us from here to here. Let's think about earth being the material place, right? All the material and devices that we have while we are here. And the heaven, all the good things, not only, earth as a material place and heaven a spiritual place, because even in the spiritual world, we could be not in heaven, right? So let's say it like that. So Jesus is helping us to get from on this happiness place, right? So the door would be Jesus, right? But let's think about Jesus, not Jesus as the person, the Spirit. We do not need to meet Jesus in person. So Jesus needs to be here next to us to go to that door. But what Jesus represents, right? What Jesus represents to us. So Jesus would tell us, told us about forgiveness. He told about indulgence, compassion, tolerance, right? All of those characteristics that Jesus brought to us is what we should understand as this door here, right? So Jesus brought it to us the true love, right? Through all these good things that we just mentioned. So understanding the door that is Jesus and all the good things that we need to do that Jesus taught us, we can understand what is in it for us, right? So we can see that in the other side of this door, there is happiness. That's why we want to go to that door, right? That's why we are walking towards that door. And that's when we say, Jesus is waiting for us. Jesus is inviting us to go to Him, right? he is inviting us to get to this other place, this amazing place that will be available for us. So now that we know the door, let's talk about the pathway to there, which is not a easy one. And the first thing that we have to keep in mind is this pathway is our lives, right? Is what we face every day, what we are doing every day in our work, with our family, with our friends. So everything that we're living is the pathway to that door, right? And why is that? So let's see what Emmanuel tells us on this. This is from the Living Spring, chapter 29. Dear friend, the time you have on earth is a sublime learning experience. Work is always the instructor of spiritual growth. Let us serve without attachment. So, time you have on earth. So we are here. We are here for a reason, and we are here to learn. We are here to get to a place where we can express what we have inside of us, express everything that Jesus taught us. So, working would be what we do every day, right? Not the work that, I do in a company or I do in a hospital, whatever we work, right? The work is those things that we are doing while we are in a society, when we are helping other people, right? So in my work, even it's a way for me to get money, to pay my bills, to pay my taxes, to pay me whatever I need to survive, right? Because we need that work. Even in that work, I can do something good, right? I can use that time to help someone. And I have a very good friend who taught me also, I have been complaining about my job. I hate what I do. There is not any meaning of that. And she started asking me things, and she said, you can do good doing this, doing that. This is how your job is helping others, blah, blah. And it was a waking time for me that, well, my job is not that bad, It's helping someone. So I could continue doing that. It was very good for me to understand that we all need to have a job. This world has a lot of good things that we just need to look at that in a different way and see the positives on that, right? So, finally, he said, let us serve without attachment. So let us serve is that helping others that I was just saying. And we need to keep in mind that when we're doing good, we need to think about the God's laws, right? So when we think about what is right, what is wrong. Of course, according to each person, we may have different understanding of what is right and what is wrong, right? So as we have been saying here, we always need to remember that the God's laws to compare with. Teresa did a lecture here I remember very well when she said, to do the inner transformation, what do we need? We need to compare to something, and that thing is the God's laws. And I think that is very good for whatever you're doing. When we're trying to measure if it's good, if it's bad, compare to the God's laws, right? Is that good? Is that really good what we're doing? And excuse me. So the problem on that pathway that we are going through life is all the temptations that we have, right? It would be easy if we have a society where everybody's nice, everybody's helping each other, everybody's kind, everything would be much simpler, right? It would be much easier. The problem is when we have this other door that, if you remember, in the gospel it says there is a larger door, and that door is all our imperfections, our selfishness, when we are judging someone else, when our pride, gossiping, all those things that we do in life that we're not very proud about, right? So that's the large door. and it's easy to get into that door, right? So as I was saying, if we are in a place where everybody's nice, it's easy to be nice. But when we have other people with the same vices that we have, right? Someone come and say something, and then you add to that and start to be bigger than we want it to be. So that's why that door is so large, because we are all here in the same kind of the same level with the same imperfections, putting that outside, and everybody's adding a little bit more to that. So it's to get to that narrow door. It's hard because we're gonna need to go through that path and try to avoid those vices. And we have been talking a lot about those vices, right? So one thing that the books from Emmanuel brought to me was one thing that we don't talk very much about here, I guess. That's when we have this inertia, a lot of negativities on that's stopping us to keep on this narrow path. The path is narrow, it's hard, but one thing that is stopping us is ourselves. So in Live Spring again, Emmanuel brought us a message saying, setting difficulties aside, however, does not mean belittling other people's opinion when respectable, nor does it mean running from the daily struggles. And I highlight that piece because it would be easy for us just to say, you know what, I don't want to go to that place anymore because that place, or another example, if we stop living in a society, I'm gonna be isolated in a cave where nothing gonna happen to me. I'll be a nice person, right? Because there's nothing happening in my life. I'm just there in a cave doing absolutely nothing. Is that really helping us? Not really, right? We're just keeping aside everything that is all the difficulties that we would have in life to try to be good, right? So it's the other way around. And it continues. It means proceeding with Jesus today, tomorrow, and always, acting and helping, learning and loving, until the divine light shines in our conscience, as much as we are already inside it, albeit unconsciously. So, until the divine light shines in our conscience. So, it's there, right? It says later that it's there. It's part of us. We just need to let that light come up and living according to it. So all those struggles, everything that those difficulties that we used to stop us, right? So how many times we said, I born like this, I will not never change, right? So, or that I'm doing this because that person did this and that to me. Or someone will come and judge what we're doing and say, are you crazy? Why you're doing this? Why you change this? Or someone will not even understand, right? What we're doing, why we are, someone do something wrong to us and we go and react, say, okay, that's okay, I'll leave it, I'll go to this other way here, and we do not worry so much about what we don't fight for revenge or something like that. Many people would say, go, you should go and tell your boss about this, you should go and complain about this person to the other person, to the boss, whatever, those kind of things could happen, and people will not comprehend if you say that's okay. So those difficulties are part of our lives, right? And that's why it's a narrow pathway, because it will be always something trying to stopping us, right? And it's in us to continue trying. It's the law of progress, right? We have that in the Spirit's book. We can learn a lot about the law of progress there, but we cannot never run away from this. Okay. So the other question that came to my mind when I was studying it was, how far is this door, right? How much I'm gonna need to walk to get to that door? It's sometimes we feel like it's too far. I have an entire life. How many years I would live? I don't know, 80 years, 90 years, suffering and going through this path. It's a long time. Well, it's not that long. One life is not that long if you think about. And I like a lot when I was I watch a video sometime, and it shows this picture here. Maybe it's not that precise because we don't know exactly when the earth was created, etc. But if we put time when earth was created in a 24 hours clock, we're gonna see that human life is here, the very end. It's 11:59, 11:58, something like that. So the earth was created, according to the science, according to what we know in science today, more or less about 4 billion years ago, and humankind would be 5 million years ago. So that's in the 24 hours, just 1 minute. Imagine that in eternity, right? It's nothing. 80 years would be nothing there. 90, okay. One life is not that long. And Emmanuel in Living Spring, he brought on chapter 42, use moderation in times of joy and resign yourself in times of sadness, doing incessantly to spread the good. For it is how you use the short time that it will determine how you proceed to the long time of either happiness or suffering. So, life is short. We're gonna do as much as we can in one life, right? Thanks God we have reincarnation. We have multiple lives that we can come and continue trying and to get to that narrow door. It will take time. Multiple lives, not only one. So we don't need to be suffering that much. Because a lot of suffering that we get when we go through this transformation and other people judging us, is created by ourselves. It's created by ourselves when we try to get everything done and right and at one time. How many times we thought I need to do this, this, and this, and this, and this, and this, and the list is very long to change, and books to read from Spiritism, Chic Xavier, and so many books, so many things that we need to do, and we think one life is not enough. Yeah, it's not, and that's okay, right? One life is just a blink of eyes in the eternity, so we don't need to make it even harder trying to get everything fixed in one life. Let's not make that stopping us, right? Let's not use that as an excuse, saying, okay, I have multiple lives, so I'll fix this piece next life. Let's not do that. Let's use the opportunities that we have. Today I have an opportunity to work on my pride. Tomorrow I have an opportunity to work on my selfishness. Every opportunity we work a little bit in everything. So we have a lot of time, and we have a lot of opportunities. I think that all those impediments, all those sufferings that we go through are opportunities for us to learn. Let's use it, right? Sometimes we're gonna succeed on that. Sometimes we're gonna fail, and that's okay. We keep trying until the moment that is part of our lives and we are succeeding everything, right? The other thing that I thought very interesting when I was studying up to get ready for was this chapter. Who do you obey on our daily bread? It's a very interesting chapter where Emmanuel says one thing that I never thought about, but we are always obedient to someone or something, right? We are obedient to our not always we are obedient, but we always have to be obedient to something, right? To our parents when we were kids, to teachers at school, right? To our bosses at work. Then you get married to our spouse, right? To laws, we have to obey the laws, right? So, and the question that he brought was, who do you obey, right? Do you perhaps first attend to your human vanities or to the opinion of others prior to observing the recommendations of the Divine Master? So, when I was reading this, one thing came to my mind. It was when I was a teenager. And I guess many of us here would be in the same situation where, we have friends and they come and say, "Why, let's do this, let's do that, blah, blah, blah." And you remember your mom saying, "Don't do this, don't do that," right? You always keep your mom or your parents, your dad is saying something like what is right, and you feel like, oh, what they are telling me to do may not be right, but because they are my friends, I want to be with them. What I do what they are telling me, right? So if we think us as kids and God as our Father, we are here. Well, don't you be friends? Could be brothers, right? Me and my brothers, we have almost the same age, so it's very nice. We play a lot together. When I was teenager, so we was always saying, "Why don't you do this?" Knowing that it was not very nice. So we are all brothers, right? Brothers and sisters here. God is our Father. And how many times we tell others to do something that, it's not what our Father would expect us to do, right? So we are acting just like teenagers, like kids. This is what I think Emmanuel was telling us here, right? So in our daily lives, we are doing that because of our human vanities, because of the opinion of others, or because God would expect us to do. I think that's a very good way to think about it. When we're doing something, is God would be happy with that, right? Am I following what Jesus would tell us to do? Or we're doing what our brothers trying to get us in trouble would like to, right? So then we have obeying to God and be committed to all the laws. We have to resist to temptations, right? I think that's why the way is so narrow, because they have all these temptations coming all the time at work, with friends, when we go to a party, living in a society, right? And we have that temptation coming all the time because of our vanity, because of, we want to have a social status, we want to show this, we want to show that. It's all part of our vanity, right? And how materialistic we are still, right? I want to have a nice car. And let's be careful always to do not, say, we are here and we should have some comfort in life. We're not saying go and sell everything and go live in a poor house because that's what God wants from us. No, right? We need to progress. Again, the law of progression, it talks about moral progression and intellectual progression. So we need to continue progressing. So it's not about, when you talk about materialism, let's not be harsh in the sense that we should not have anything. No, we should work. We should try to make this planet better, better through new technology, better through better moral education to our kids, etc. But let's not stop. Let us make that stop us to continue growing. And then about controlling our resisting to temptations, Emmanuel brought to us this message: Blessed shall we be if we go through these types of battles, controlling the impulses of our less advanced sentiments, thereby perfecting it little by little. Remember when I say that we have many incarnations little by little? That's what he's telling us here. And those controlling our instinct, our impulses, is again part of this narrow path that we go through, because it's hard. It's not easy at all to control things that we have been doing for a while, incarnations and over incarnations, right? And we know that all the temptations will happen, will come, and it's our duty to control those impulses that lead us to those. And gossip is the easiest example to that, right? So if someone come, and I think it was last week, or someone was talking about this exactly, lecture, saying, one time you're gonna go and we got a person will come, you do a gossip, and you're gonna add to that. You say, yeah, do you know this person that does this and that as well? So you add to that. Another time, maybe you resist, you don't talk about anything on 2 weeks. But again, you fail, you go and do a gossip again. Then next time you can hold for a month, 2 months, 3 months, until the moment that we can really control those impulses and we say, all right, so I'm not doing this. So it's hard. It's not easy to control those impulses and things that we have been doing for incarnations and over incarnations, right? But it's not impossible. It's little by little, like Emmanuel tells us, and we need to go to this path to fix it in transforming ourselves little by little. And one thing that Emmanuel brought to us as well on the Living Spring, on the difficult road, and I guess I forgot to change because I think this is from Our Daily Bread, not on the Living Spring, but whatever, is that we are not alone, right? On this road, we are not alone at all. We have help, and God is helping us all the time. And one thing that I saw the other day, or someone commented, I don't remember where I saw it, but someone was asking for God's help. The person was praying, I need help, I need help, I need help. And then someone came and said, okay, I'm here, I'm going to help you. How can I help you? No, I'm waiting for God. Then keep praying, God, help me, God, help me, God, help me. Someone else come and offer help. And the person, no, thank you, I don't need it. I'm going to wait. And keep praying. And the person stopped and said, hey, God, where are you? Why are you not helping me? So we always waiting for a big sign or something that show us, this is the way, do this or do that, and it's not like that. The signs that God gives to us, sometimes very small, and it's in us to understand what that sign is, right? So it's through someone, sometimes it's through music, sometimes it's through a video that we watch, and sometimes it comes 2 or 3 times, in the same day. I was joking the other day with my wife where I said, I read 3 times today about patience. And it was very beginning of the morning, in the day, and I said 3 times in a day, in 1 hour, 2 hours, message about patience. I think I'm gonna need this today. So sometimes it's very clear. You see, it's 3 messages.
I had 4, but you didn't have the patience.
maybe. So God never abandoned us. It's our there. It's in us to look for those signs and have faith. Faith is something that will help us through this narrow path. And the faith, when we talk about faith in Spiritism, we always remember the faith that is not accepting whatever people are telling us, right? But more than that, in the Gospel according to Spiritism, when we talk about faith, we talk about acting, not just waiting and waiting and waiting. That's not faith, right? When you have faith and you believe in something, you work towards that, right? So that is the part where we need to do our part and change ourselves. So on the Live Spring, it brings this message: let us hold to the conforming certainty that every storm is followed by a tranquil atmosphere, and that there is never a night without the dawn. Right? So that's something for us to keep in mind, that we are going through a difficult things. We are going through struggles. Things are not exactly the way that we think, and then we keep the faith that better days will come, right? Because we're gonna get to that door. So we keep walking, we keep going, we never stop. So the door is narrow, and the message that we get is not always what we want. I can keep asking God to give me a large car, for a 6 seats car, and he keep me sending a motorcycle just for me, right? Or so maybe that's what I need. We always keep waiting for something that we think that is the best for us, while God is saying, you know what, this is not what you need. You need something else. And that's the part where we accept that. We accept what God is giving to us, right? And when we accept, and that acceptance is what leads us to happiness, because we stop trying to get something that is not there for us, right? But again, let's not make that as an excuse for us to accommodate in a place and not trying to get better, right? And I'm talking about in this aspect also in materialistic. We need to. If we don't try to get better, we never evolve. If someone ever thought that we could have a cell phone, today we are maybe talking through letters, right? So we need to get moving. And as I was saying, it's not easy. It takes time, and we should never stop. In our daily bread, there is a chapter talk, let us proceed until we are there, right? And there is heaven, this other side of the door that we want to get to. And he said, whether incarnate or as disincarnate, we are still walking toward the master. And I thought this was interesting because he said incarnate and as disincarnate. So it's not only when we are here on earth that we are walking, right? When it's incarnate, we keep walking. Otherwise, what we're gonna be doing there, right? It's time for us to still learn. Intend on being able to experience the glorious until with His love. Until we get there, let us work and be vigilant in order to understand the divine will. So we talk a lot about being working, right? So the inner transformation, things that we have been saying for a while here. Being vigilant is the other piece that we discussed a little bit earlier, right? So we need to look to our tendencies, our imperfections, and what we are doing every day to do not fall under temptation. That is that the moment that when we know ourselves, we know we're gonna fail, I can stop that being vigilant. So I can pray, I can look into myself all the time and doing my exercise of analyzing my day at the end of the day. Kardec says in the Gospel according to Spiritism, the best spirit is that one who try to transform themselves, right? Little by little, that look at the end of the day, they can stop and think, what I did today. Did I did any good? Did I help everyone that I could? Right? All those questions that we do, and And that's the moment that we are being vigilant to ourselves. Am I doing, when we stop and instead of automatically react to something, we stop and say, oh, okay, what's going on here? Why I'm almost reacting like that? Can I stop it? So we're vigilant to ourselves, looking inside of us, not to others, inside of us, right? What I'm doing. And then we can continue working every time and get one day with Jesus in that door. So we can find Jesus and we can go and enter to that other door. And one thing that I forgot to mention earlier about this door is that when we saw the message just saying that we go from the earth to the heaven, we need to remember that heaven is not when we just incarnate. Heaven could be here, could be now, right? It's how we react to things, and that's important. It's how we can transform. Yeah, we are on a planet of expiation and trials. We're gonna go through suffering. When Jesus came here, he suffered as well. But that heaven is how we react into everything. So how Jesus reacted to everything that he went through. He was angry. He was frustrated. He was blaming others. No, right? He was doing the best, everything that he could, and always with a smile. If you read the Bible, if you read Jesus in the Home, it's an amazing book that we have translated to English as well. You're gonna see Jesus is always teaching in a loving way, right? Help with a smile, helping and being nice to people. So he was in his heaven because he doesn't need to be in the spiritual world to be in heaven. It's how we react to things, how we live in the moment, right? Instead of thinking about what if all the time. Because we tend to do that, right? We tend to suffering for something that never happened. You know, sometimes I see myself doing that a lot. You know, suffering, and I stop at why I'm suffering for something that I don't even know if it's true. Right? So we're gonna get there. It takes time. It is a slow process, and but we should never stop. And let's help each other. So the same way that society can come and put all the temptations for us to fail, we can be helping each other, giving good examples and keep the conversation and talks when we have with friends in a positive thing. We can help or stopping things. We can help each other all the time, right? That's why we are here. We usually say that we are living in society because we need these bad things to happen. Yes, we need the bad things, but we also need the good things, right? And we can help those others to learn through love. It's not only through pain that we learn. We can learn from love as well. So let's keep helping each other on that way, right? And I think that's it for today. And today is not March 12th. Thank you.
Thank you, Marcio. So we have time for questions. Would like to be the first one of many questions. Denise, I think you have a question. Or a comment.
I don't have a question, but I could do a comment. This is the first time, every time I read about the narrow door, I think about to let it go. All these masks that we create, all these bad behaviors. You need to leave all these behind to be able to grow to this. So I think it's the first thing about narrow door for me. It's really to take all these messes, all these problems that we create in our mind, all these vices that we have, like jealousy and all this, and really be able, the work is to let these things go, because we know that divine essence is inside all of us.
Yeah.
And we have this pure love, we have everything that Jesus is talking about is inside each one of us. What we need really to do is to let go the other things that we tend
That is hiding the true
it's
love.
inside, and we have like little pets, and no, I want to let it go, but you know, just like let's gossip, still last one. But then it's hard.
That's so true.
And that's why it's a narrow door.
Yeah.
And it's inside of us. That door is inside of us. So the path to get, just to be on the path, it's already a huge accomplishment.
Yeah.
So be conscious that you are on the path of that narrow door is what's going to give you the strength, because I think we need a lot of strength to be walking on that narrow door, because it's not easy. It's much, much easier to be, walking in a different path that you just don't have to do any work.
Yeah.
The narrow door means work. And we are here living surrounded by all the temptations that the Spirit wants to really, get a hold and, don't have like everything. If you think all the temptations that the physical world gives us that we don't have, but it's temptation. It's tempting still because we're still living into these vices that gives us the feeling of being tempted. Because if we accomplish not being on that in some vices anymore, we won't be tempted by this anymore. It's out of our lives.
And I like what you said about strength, and where we got that strength, right? We got that strength studying, being here, the gospel at home, right? Praying. That strength is it's how we build that, right? It's through the study and practicing.
Discipline.
Yeah.
It's true.
It
It's
is.
so true, because some of those are habits. We
Yeah.
are animal of habits. So sometimes it's not that we want to do it, but when we realize we're already doing
did.
it, so it's just by stopping us from doing this, when you see all these instinctive feelings coming out, it's because it hasn't been educated yet. So it's up to us to really get a hold on that and educate us. I do not want to gossip anymore. But when I see I'm already doing it, so correct, not next time, correct right away by saying, I didn't mean to do this gossip. So you put the other person on a path too, because she'll know that the next time, maybe you're not the right person to be gossiping with her. So these are habits that we have to be learning, and this is a school. Life is a school that
Yeah.
we have that opportunity and many, many more for us to get into this narrow door.
But also be aware that these are parables, not analogies. So it's not a path or a door, because I always had that problem. Because if the door is so narrow and says only a few will go through the door, what happens to everybody else that is not there? Well, in God's eternal mercy, the door is always open. If you don't get through it this time, you have many other opportunities to get through the door. The same is true for the path. There are multiple righteous paths, not just one. There are multiple paths. Each one of us will find our own path. But if you stray, if you go outside that path, there will always be a path that brings you back. Right? You just have to open yourself up to understand what had led you astray. And a good way to know that you're in the right path or the wrong path, we always talk about being in the light or in the darkness. The right path is brilliant with light. And it's not just the analogy of a divine light. It really, to me, means I am exposed as I walk through that righteous path, and I am totally comfortable with everybody seeing what I'm doing. If there's anything in our lives that we would not be comfortable in exposing this to everyone, then that's a good hint that that is not the full light that we need. That there's something we know that we're doing that we'll be embarrassed, that we'll be uncomfortable, that we'll even be afraid of letting other people know that we're doing that. These are our darkest moments. So we use the analogy of light and dark. It really is about transparency to all of the other spirits that surround us. And this is something that when we go to the spiritual world, we lose that ability to hide that. And that's why we suffer so much. Because here we create masks, we create protections, walls. We hide inside these rooms that we create. We hide our darkest secrets. These are all terms that really reflect that we're not in that narrow path. But let's not ever forget that God will always point us the way. Like the analogy that, the story that Marcio was telling about the guy who was asking for help and ignoring all of the helpers that God has sent us. We have to be open for that, because help will often come from the strangest places in our path. And it's through charity, through humbleness, and basically through our faith that we will see these true helpers that will come to your life and put us back into that narrow path. And we will slip many times, and we will come back. And that's just part of how God created us.
Any question, Tarek? No?
No more comments? Thank you. Thank you, Marcio. So I'll ask everybody to relax. Just make yourself comfortable. We'll get our